Is your dog due for the Bordetella vaccine, but you have no idea what it is or whether your dog needs to be vaccinated against it? We have all the answers to all your questions and more, so let's get into it. Welcome back to Alpha Paw, your destination for everything dog. I'm Bernie Zilio, and I'm on a mission to answer every doggone question you have ever had about your fur babies. And today we are talking about whether they actually need the Bordetella vaccine. Fortunately, we have an expert with us today, Dr. Ross Bernstein. Dr. Ross is a seasoned veterinary professional and pet care expert. He earned his doctorate degree in veterinary medicine at UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine, and his work has been featured in several industry-leading publications, including the Journal of Veterinary Surgery. He is our go-to vet for everything we want and need to know about our fur babies. So welcome back to Alpha Paw, Dr. Ross.
Hey, Bernie, how you doing?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Good. Okay, so I'm excited to talk to you because this is literally right up your alley. It is a vaccination that many of us are super familiar with for our dogs. We all hear about Bordetella. Get your dog vaccinated for Bordetella. I got to be honest, I have no idea what Bordetella is. So I'm glad to be speaking to you today about it. So can you explain to us what is Bordetella?
Bordetella or Bordetella bronchoseptica is the name of a bacteria. It's actually called canine infectious respiratory disease complex, CIRDC, but it's more commonly known as kennel cough. It is a highly contagious respiratory infection that dogs can get from close contact with each other. When we say it's a respiratory disease complex, there's many different pathogens or bad things involved that can cause it. Bordetella is just one of them, but it is very commonly implicated in this disease and is often also a secondary invader. So that's a little bit about what Bordetella is. I'm sure we'll get into more right now.
A very medical explanation, but makes perfect sense. So Bordetella is a bacteria that causes kennel cough. Did I get that correct?
Yeah, that's a simple way of saying yes.
Perfect. So I've heard of kennel cough. Now, how can our dogs even get this bacteria?
It's a very contagious disease. So contagious means that it can spread from one dog to the other. So any place where dogs have close nose-to-nose contact, where they're bringing their snoots, as you like to say, close to each other, whether that's at a dog park, in a grooming facility, if they're boarding, really any place that has a bunch of dogs there and you don't know whether or not they're vaccinated, whether or not they're sick or healthy. So places where you don't know what the status is of the other dogs, it is a big risk that they can transmit infectious diseases to one another, such as kennel cough or Bordetella, which is one of the pathogens associated with kennel cough.
Interesting. Okay, so super, super contagious, which is probably why we hear constantly this fear of kennel cough. So what are the symptoms of kennel cough? What should we be looking out for if our dog is infected with this bacteria?
So if dogs get kennel cough, there's coughing is part of its name. And kennel, I guess I should have said that earlier, but kennel, if they go to places where there's a bunch of dogs. So if your dog goes to a place like a dog park or groomer or boarding facility, and they come back, maybe one or two or a couple of days later, they start coughing. They sometimes have retching or gagging because when they cough up, sometimes there's a white foam or phlegmy type of material. They can cough it up, spit it up. Sometimes they don't feel that well either, and so they can have a high temperature. They might not want to eat as much. They may be a little bit lethargic, but coughing is definitely the most common symptom or clinical sign that we see.
Now, I don't mean to get really depressing, but is kennel cough deadly if a dog is not vaccinated? And can a dog who is vaccinated contract kennel cough?
Kennel cough is typically a self-limiting disease, meaning that your dogs usually get better from it. And that usually takes about 1 to 3 weeks. When they are vaccinated against Bordetella, they can still contract the disease and they can still get it. But typically the the symptoms that they experience and the duration of the symptoms that they experience are either not as long or not as bad. So they might not get it at all if they're vaccinated, but if they do, generally their symptoms are less severe and they don't have them for as long. If your dog is not vaccinated, and by the way, both times, if your dog is coughing and you're concerned and you're worried or they're not doing well, you should always ask your veterinarian and seek help, just so you can get the best care to your dog as possible. But it's typically a self-limiting disease. They don't generally die from this condition.
Okay, wow, great. Oh my God, we're ending on a high note. I love it. So it sounds like, honestly, that it's the smartest decision if your dog is a good candidate and healthy to consult your vet and get the Bordetella vaccine. I feel like we could probably avoid a lot of these things, including kennel cough, like you said. So consult your veterinarian about the Bordetella vaccine, see if it's right for your dog. And if you have any questions about that, go ahead and drop that in the comment section down below. Did you guys find this video helpful? Go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Again, I'm Bernie Zilio, and this is Alpha Paw. Be sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single doggone episode. We'll see you next time.